Welcome. This is my first time doing a live, and so I'm a little nervous, but I am really excited to be here. So, I am a mindset coach. I use hypnotherapy and tapping and visualizations and all different types of techniques to help people get control over their mind because so many of us are being run by our mind instead of us deciding what we want to be thinking. So that's my passion, and I really weave positive affirmations into everything that I do. And but I do want to say that that doesn't mean I am a toxic positivity type person, because I'm not. I do allow myself to feel all my emotions, and I honor all my emotions. And we all should, because I know now that pushing them down and pushing them to the side, or saying, no, it's okay, when it's really not, is pretty detrimental for our physical self, our mental, our spiritual. It's really hard on us when we shove and we don't allow ourselves to look at exactly how we're feeling. So I want to make that clear, that even though I'm all about being positive, I'm also about honoring our feelings, and I honor my feelings. But here's the difference that I love now, is that I get to decide how long I want to feel that feeling. So it's not like I get sad and then something makes me sad, and then I say, okay, I'm going to allow myself 2 hours to grieve over this. Like, that's not how it works. I allow myself to feel the feeling, and once I know that I've felt it enough, I guess, like, I just know when, like, okay, I now am repeating the same thoughts over and over, or I'm repeating the same things, then I know it's time for me to start working through letting it go. And and I've got several tools, excuse me. I've got several tools on how I do that for myself, and I look forward to sharing them with you, because I think we all deserve a little more peace and joy in our life, and that's what's happened since I started taking control over my thoughts. I get to decide, like, is this worth stealing my joy? Is this worth taking away my peace right now? And it's a really powerful way to live. And I just am passionate about sharing that with everyone. I want everyone to feel more peace and joy. So I I scripted out everything that I was going to say today, and then I found that it was stressing me out because I wasn't remembering everything that I wrote down. So I've kind of decided that I'm just going to have a topic, and then I'm going to speak from my heart, and we're going to see how it goes. So today's topic is to-do lists. So we know that to-do lists can be super beneficial. They make us feel good when we get to check things off. They keep us focused on what do I need to get done today. They help us to feel like we're achieving things, like, okay, I got that task done, I got this done. And it can just make us feel super productive and worthy, because we're like getting things done. And for those of us that can be perfectionists, it can also be like, see, I'm staying on track, so there's just a lot of benefits to-do lists. And also too, it can relieve stress, because if we're thinking about it over and over and over again in our head, that can stress us out. So once we get it out and we get it on paper or into our phone, then we can go like, okay, I don't have to think about that anymore. I've got it out. I know what I need to do. So that's a good thing about to-do lists. But then there are several, I feel, detrimental, not so good things about a to-do list. I think if you're a high achiever, you can really set too high of expectations for yourself. If you, excuse me, if you struggle at all with self-worth, or self-courage, or just good mental health, I think that a to-do list can be detrimental, because sometimes we put things on there, and if you don't get them taken care of, you can be pretty hard on yourself. I also think it gives us a false sense of that we really know where our day is going, and we really think we have control over our world, when we don't. We know that in the blink of an eye, everything can change. Also, too, to-do lists can make us rigid. You know, if someone asks us to do something, we can be like, nope, not on my list of things to do. So I'll take care of it tomorrow or another day. When really we need to try to be more flexible and go with the flow of life. So the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because doing this live, um, has been on my to-do list for a very long time. And it probably showed up for the first time, I'm going to say like 6 months ago. I was like, I should really do a YouTube live. And then sporadically it would show up on the list. And then I would say about 3 months ago, it started showing up pretty predictably. Like, okay, Jay, you need to do it. You need to do a YouTube live, and, I, of course I wasn't. And so then I would have to move it to the next day or the next week and I realized I was putting do a YouTube live right next to empty the dishwasher. Like, that is so unfair because there's so much more that goes into doing a YouTube live, at least for me. And so I really learned that it was tapping into you're never gonna be good enough to do that, Jay. You're never gonna show up, for yourself. People don't want to hear what you have to say. Why would you think, what you want to share is worth anything? And some of it isn't even me consciously thinking it. Some of it is just my beliefs in myself and my beliefs, it's the inner child in me who still is carrying, how she felt, back when I was little. And so it can really tap into those feelings of not being good enough and not being worthy. And I don't want to feel like that anymore. So I decided I really needed to put steps in there, chunk it up. So I was thrilled when I was like, okay, what are steps that I need to take to do a live? So of course I have to watch some YouTube videos to like, okay, what do other people do? And then I just started deciding, okay, where do I want to have my live? That was on my to-do list. So had to figure that out. Do I want it inside, outside? Do I want it in this room or that room? Where do I want to do it? And so that was one thing. So then I get that checked off. And then, what do I want to say? That's a whole nother thing, right? And then is my camera good enough? Okay, do I look at buying, new cameras or a new phone or, do I need a microphone? Do I need to buy a microphone? All of that is, are the steps that I needed to take to get to here. So it felt so much better to know that I was taking small steps to accomplish a bigger goal. And I just want to remind us, I want to remind you, us, I say I want to remind us because I need to remind myself, I want to remind you to, we need to be gentle with ourselves. We make these grandiose plans of things that we want to do, and we really do want to do them. But we need to allow ourselves these little steps, these little wins along the way so that you can feel like, good job. I mean, as I was making these steps to get here today, I was saying, good job, Jay. Good job, Jay. Like, you're getting there. You're doing it. And that's what I want to live. I want to live a life where I believe in myself and where I do know I am worthy. And I do know that I deserve to follow my dreams and to set goals and actually reach them. So I just wanted to remind you to just take things in stride. Take little steps. Every little step is a step toward your dream, and every little step matters. Every little step got me here today. So that's what I wanted to share for my first live, is that I got here. So thank you for joining me. I hope you found this beneficial, and I would love to hear if there's anything that you'd like to talk about. I really want this to become a community. I want to get all of us into a better state of peace and joy more often in our lives. So, okay, I did it. So keep smiling, keep shifting, and keep in touch. I really do care and I really want to know how you're doing. Have a wonderful day.